So, dear friends, is everyone still awake? Good. So, thank you for joining us today at this very important occasion. And we invited you to share your views on some of the EU and global challenges that we are facing today. Mr. Prime Minister, it's also my honor to share this stage with you, and I think honor for all of us. How do you, as Prime Minister also from Albania, think that what are the priorities in the years ahead for the European cooperation?
Can you explain why is your honor?
It's an honor because, this is a real politician, huh? No, it's an honor because we have been sometimes in Zoom meetings and actually discussing on the Western Balkans. I always find you an extremely interesting speaker, and this is not just to say it on the stage. Because you can be very provocative, which I like as a Dutch person who tends to be very direct. So it's an honor to finally meet you in person.
Okay, let's say I am convinced now. No, I was thinking what would be valuable contribution to this Congress coming from a country that is not in the EU, but is still in the Europe, and being part of this area in the middle of Europe, in the middle of the European Union, but out of the European Union, the Western Balkans. And I thought that maybe it can be not a bad idea to try and convey here the message that what started some days ago or a few weeks ago in Prague with this attempt to unite Europe beyond the borders of the European Union and to include countries that in one way or the other are connected to not simply the fate of Europe but also to how the European Union moves forward. It's still a big question. Yes, this community is needed. We have seen it, especially in times that are becoming more and more common times and bringing more and more common challenges. But how this community will be functioning in a way that at the end everyone can see results. How this community can be functioning in a way that when it comes to the huge common challenges, no one is left behind and no one's contribution to the European common position is not taken for granted. We have had a horrible experience with the European Union when the pandemic started and when the European Union gathered in rush and pressure under big anxiety to start vaccination. And in the first row of vaccination, we were completely forgotten. So we had to watch how others around us could start vaccinate their elderly, their nurses, their doctors, while we, the Western Balkan people, although being so faithful and so loyal to Europe, were like fishes out of water. And what we could do? We had to run to find vaccines exactly where the narrative of the European Union says comes the danger. China, Russia, and Turkey. And if, for example, in the case of Albania, was not for Turkey, and for President Erdogan, we would not have been able to vaccinate anyone for quite a long time. Same goes for Serbia and China, and somehow also Russia. So this was a big, frightening moment because we could see in a very hard situation that European Union was not there for us, was not there for our people, was not there in a matter of life and death. Now, here we are. The energy crisis is not the pandemic, but is similar when it comes to the power to hit and to disrupt the whole community of Europeans, let's say. And I hope that will not be the case again, that whatever solutions might be found within the European Union and however the European Union might decide to support member states to somehow stand the big punch, we will not be again left out of it. You know, we Albanians are very loyal people. You know, we were the last to betray the Ottoman Empire, even when the Ottomans themselves decided to do something else. We were the last to betray the Soviet Empire, even when the whole Soviets decided that was not a good idea. We'll be the last to betray the European Empire, even if European Union will dissolve. But we don't like to be taken for granted anyway. So I think that it's time to see deeper in how this family, the Socialist and Democrat family, where, by the way, there is less solidarity in deeds compared to the EPP family, let's say it, because the EPP guys support each other blindly. We in this family need to first scrutinize each other to the point that we make the solidarity even senseless. So I hope this will be somehow adjusted. But at the end, I would say that there are things that are really horrible. You know, we are not rich countries, and on one hand, we are seeing our youngsters and the best youngsters leaving because we don't have the same access to the European high education system. So our universities cannot create the synergies and cannot create the common path with universities in the European Union. On the other hand, we see that even them who we pay from our taxpayers' money to become doctors and nurses are swallowed by Germany like this in a second. So it doesn't seem really right, and it doesn't seem really European solidarity to see on one hand your universities and your youth left out of the system, and so leaving the country because they want to be part of that system, and rightly so. And on the other hand, to see our qualified workforce being swallowed by the richest countries. So, okay, it's the market, I understand it, but somehow this should be balanced, and this should be somehow, you know, in a kind of solidarity in the sense that our countries should get something in return. So if there are no more young Germans that want to become nurses, we are happy to help, but we should be helped too. It can't work. It can't work in one way, and there are several themes like that need to be addressed. And I hope this new European political community is not the ultimate French delicious cheese just to avoid the big meal, but it's a real meal, and it's a meal for everyone, not just for them with the EU, but also for them with just E.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And for those who are more interested in your specific ideas on that, I can recommend your opinion piece last week in Politico with also the Dutch.
No, this was not all about what I want to say because it was a compromise between me and Mark Rutte. So it was was a Dutch-Albanian cooperation, which was very fascinating, frankly, for me and for us, because until a few years ago, Netherlands was the most tough and the most unpenetrable force preventing us to open the negotiations. But then they won elections and they were fine, so they can see us with another eye.
Well, I'm happy for that. Mr. Prime Minister, also when you already raised some issues where you think Europe was not always delivering and where you think also the months ahead there should be more solidarity when it comes, for instance, on the energy issue with countries, candidate countries like your country. There's also recently been cyber attacks against Albania. What in the specific issue of security is where you see more European cooperation should be taking place?
Yeah, thank you for the question. But first, let me express my gratitude to Sergei, who entered now the room. So, Sergei, thank you very much for everything you have done. You have been an incredibly strong and incredibly heartwarming point of reference in very bad times. And I hope this is not simply because you are a Bulgarian social democrat, but I hope this is the spirit that will be also transplanted to a Swedish social democrat and will have the same. Now, I have just to tell you in a few words that we were attacked very, very heavily by the Islamic Republic of Iran in an attempt to wipe out completely our data and to destroy completely our system of online services, which is a very developed one in Albania. And just yesterday in the new UN Digital Compass development, Albania ranked 8th in Europe, but in the whole Europe, not just in our Europe without you, and 19th in the world, meaning we have a quite sophisticated system of online services that is now part of the life of the citizens, with a lot of benefits in eliminating time, eliminating queues, eliminating bribery, and they really hit it in a very strategic part of our daily functioning. The reason has to do with the fact that Albania has sheltered several thousands Iranian opposition members, because we are a bit a different place when it comes to solidarity with people that are in need. And it's not by coincidence that Albania was the only country in the whole Europe to have more Jews after the Second World War than before, because the Jews in Albania were protected, and there is no record of a single Jew that was delivered to the Nazis. And then when the crazy ethnic cleansing machine of Slobodan Milosevic started its very dirty and bloody job in Kosovo, there were nearly 1 million people that were displaced, and half of them, 500,000, they were sheltered in Albania. And lately, when the pull-out from Afghanistan was quite a messy story, we opened the doors to some thousands of Afghans that nobody wanted to take, although they were working for us. And it was a really embarrassing situation to see that NATO member states that used these people as translators, drivers, engineers, experts, and that pushed women to get out, speak, stand in the line, had this terrible idea to not only leave, but leave without them. So we couldn't save all of them, but I'm very proud because we saved a lot of them. And it was quite even more embarrassing to see how much we were praised and how much curious journalists from all over Europe were to know why. What should have been the norm was an exception. And this was shame for the larger community. So we did with the Iranians. Nobody wanted to take them. They were being killed in weekly basis in Camp Liberty in Iraq. And so we decided to open the doors to them. And this came with a price, and the price was very, very scary. Although the attack did not succeed to do all the wiping out, so we succeeded to get the systems back to work. But, you know, we got some statements of solidarity, which are very good. But so far, we are not seeing more than that. And I don't want to make it a story of finance, but it's also about finance. We are, I believe, the only country in Europe that is 100% green when it comes to energy. But in the same time, we are based fully on hydro. So when God does not cry enough, we have problems. And so we have to go to the import. And in this also I see that there is a problem, because it's not enough to make statements and to applaud countries or people for behaving in the right way, but it's also needed to ask yourself how much they are struggling to behave in the right way, to not let them then look elsewhere. And again, when it comes to cyber, this is just the beginning. I believe that we'll be faced with more, not just Albania, but everyone. And I find completely surreal that Europe has not yet a common system of data and a common system of response when it comes to security. And to end, I want to share here also this other side of the story, which has to do with the people that seek asylum, young people seeking asylum lately in Britain. And British government telling us, you have to stop them. So how can be the job of the government of Albania to put in order the channel there? I don't know. But what I know is that if we don't succeed to go to the source of the problems, and if we continue to speak about the democratic Europe, the united line of democracies against autocracies, and so on and so further, and then lack in action when it comes to act together, not simply for solidarity, but also for common goals and common sense, we are going to lose. And we are going to lose big time. Because there is one big disadvantage democracies have while fighting autocracies, and let alone while fighting a war. The threshold of pain of people that live under dictatorships and under brutal regimes is much higher than the threshold of pain of people that live in democracy.
Mr. Prime Minister, this is what I hate about moderating, getting 2 minutes per speaker.
You should never ask limit of time if you want to talk to Balkan man.
I know, I have
Never.
I have to learn a lot from you.
Never.
I have to learn a lot from you.
We come from a tradition of a lot of talking, and it looks like Margaret Thatcher thought about us when she said, if you want to talk, find men. If you want to fix things, just do it with women.
Edi Rama, thank you.